Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of the Stock Marketing Show. I'm Scott Briard. With me, as always, the wonderful Kelly Briard. You came up with a great concept today, which I think is why this is so important that we shoot this show. Tell me about what we chatted about earlier.
Well, recently I have come across both websites and social media that are out of date. I do a lot of the qualifying for our clients or prospective clients. So I'm constantly going through websites and social media for public companies to see whether or not they need our services and, you know, where they are in the greater scheme of things digitally. So I do a lot of qualifying. So therefore I see a lot of things which sometimes are a little alarming.
So to tie this all in, as an executive of a public company, and if you're, well, we'll get to our website, we'll build a new one, it's down the road, we're busy doing this right now, or social media, we thought about it, somebody did it in the office back 4 years ago, we haven't done anything on Twitter or LinkedIn since. If you are a public company with stocks that can be purchased, these are things that you need to take seriously because, as Kelly's explaining, people are going to your website to learn more about your company, or maybe everybody out there has a social media platform of choice, whether it's Twitter maybe for a younger generation, professionals on LinkedIn, grandparents on Facebook looking at pictures of their grandkids' birthday party, but they're still following you potentially. And if you don't exist, as you're saying, no one's going to have any eyeballs on your shares, that's for sure.
Right. I call it proof of life. So if you're a shareholder and you come to a website and the copyright at the bottom is 2021, and now we are 2024, somebody is not thinking about what that looks like on the outside. If I come to your website and I see from Apple News or wherever I'm getting my news from that you had a news release 2 days ago, and I come to your website and the last time you put up a news release was 2 months ago and you've had 4 between now and then, I'm kind of wondering what's going on over there. Very similar to what you might think if you went to, you know, you heard about this great restaurant and you wanted to go there and you go to their website and there's no pictures of food. I'd be a little concerned. I need pictures of food or drinks or whatever. And the same thing is going to go for your social media. If you are not posting on the regular, not just when you have news, but like on the regular, I'm kind of wondering whether or not I'm sinking my money into a hole.
I think this also translates into how professional a company is. Mm-hmm. If you're neglecting your website, if you're neglecting your social, are you also neglecting your financials? Are you also neglecting, if you're in mining, regulations and certain things regarding the property or 44101s or like, I think that this needs to be a part of the entire package of a professional public company.
Right.
You need to consider that this is not looking good for you, just as if you missed, dotting your I's and crossing your T's in contracts, or those you've hired, or any other crucial component to your company. Shareholders and potential shareholders are looking at these things. And if your Instagram, your Twitter, your LinkedIn's 3 years out of date, it's not a big piece of the pie to get these things updated and have them done professionally like we do.
Right. If you've got someone in-house that is, they live and breathe the social media dream or whatever, great. Almost nothing is going to really beat in-house. But that being said, the vast majority of companies that I've ever dealt with or that I've ever come across, they don't have somebody in-house. And when I say in-house, I mean in-house. I don't mean your brother's, uncle's, dog's, cousin's yoga instructor, blah, 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 that's going to take care of your social media. Your shares are trading on a public exchange where people can buy them, very similar to how the public can go into a restaurant and buy a plate of food. And if you don't seem like you are alive, would you go to a restaurant that had no Google reviews, wasn't on OpenTable, and wasn't on Instagram? Instagram being the choice for restaurants, that's where they all are. Would you kind of go, well, I wonder if they're still open? That sort of translates in the same kind of way.
Right, and it's amazing that, we're in 2024. Websites have been around since 2000, social media since 2010. These are not things that you're considering how important they are to a public company. And
considering how important they are to a public company, but it's also how important it is from the outside looking in. I think a lot of times what happens is public companies are seeing, they're standing in the forest and wondering where all the trees are or whatever. It's the perception of what an investor is seeing from the outside looking in, whether they're invested in your company or not. I mean, it's potentially even worse if you're invested and then they're not doing anything anyways. But and there's a knack for social media. That's definitely, like, if you're not living and breathing it, again, your Bob's sister's uncle's dog's cousin that does social media for whatever is not the same thing as understanding the platforms and understanding how to intrigue someone that stops and looks at your post. Those are two different things.
Right. I mean, the stats have it. We're 4.5 hours a day now on our phone. We're opening it 92 times a day. Social media alone, the average North American adult's 2 hours. I mean, these are things you cannot ignore. We can go on forever about the importance of these things.
I just read an interesting stat that something like 42% of all people in North America, regardless of age, get their news directly from a social media platform, are not getting it from like a news source, which would be, I don't know, like your TV or like an official news source. They're getting their news, 42%, that's a big number of any age group in North America is getting their news from social media.
Right. And if you think about executives of public companies, they're spending hours writing these news releases, let alone the thousands, tens of thousands they're paying for the mining work to produce the results, or tech companies that might be doing a merger or an acquisition.
R&D or
the
whatever,
money that is spent to go into the news release, the time spent, the excitement behind the news going out. But if you're not taking part in social media platforms to get the news out there to the viewers, or if you're not putting it on your website in a timely fashion, news from 3 months ago on your website doesn't matter. It's what happened today, this week, and now that you need to be getting there. It's amazing how many companies overlook this.
Right. And I always say, social media is free and social media is so easy, but really and truly the nitty gritty of it is actually a little bit more time consuming, if you will. But everybody has their poison. And I see a lot of public companies who focus a lot on Twitter and focus maybe a little bit on LinkedIn. Those are your two big ones. But everyone has their poison. Maybe that executive is on Twitter, but like when they get home, they're on Instagram or they're on Facebook. And Facebook is, for the old people or whatever, but you got a fair amount of people that are on Facebook is, I think, the largest. And if you're only posting on Twitter, I have a fair amount of friends that only have Facebook. Yeah, so they never see anything that you ever do. And let me tell you, if your website's 3 months out of date, they kind of wonder what's going on over there.
Right. I feel like we just made the older demographic there, did we, in that?
I am kind of the older demographic. I am all the demographics. I mean, we have TikTok too. So you have to me, when you're looking at social media, everybody has their poison. And if you are not serving out their poison and the way that they're going to consume it, again, like we have a friend of ours that only has Facebook, does not want anything to do with any other social media platform. And if you're only ever posting your news on Twitter, he never sees you. And when he goes to Facebook and searches, he's never going to find your company unless you're there. So, and if you're not posting, the last time you posted, I just qualified somebody this morning. Last time they posted was 2019. I'm like, wow, you had news 4 days ago. What happened?
Right. So the moral of the story is you're not really alive unless you're up to date, and that's including your website, that's including your social media, and really consider who's doing it. Like, it's amazing how many companies go, yeah, we're posting, and if you go and have a look, they're literally dragging the news file, decision, whatever link they got for their news release, and they're dropping it in. No image, no thought behind it, no hashtags, no cash tags, no call to action, just, well, we put it up, it's there on Twitter, look, we dropped the link in. And there's no reason anybody in the right mind is going to click that link because there's no excitement behind it. There's no image demographic.
Well, they miss it. Like as you're scrolling, your eyes are being caught by catchy graphics, catchy creative, whether it's a GIF or an MP4 or whatever. Like your eyes are being caught by something. And if it's a little piece of text like this with just a random link in it, you don't even notice that it went by in your feed. You have like what, all of a nanosecond to capture somebody as it there the
3
thing.
seconds, right?
I don't know about 3. I would say it's like half. But anyways.
Attention spans are getting worse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people can scroll forever. Like you see people, like we were just on a train and people were scrolling forever on their poison, right? There was Instagram there was Twitter there. The guy beside us at lunch was like, I think that guy was all over Instagram, and he was the older demographic, if you will.
I thought it was Tinder. It might have been.
Perhaps it was. But, you know, people are scrolling, and they're scrolling by the hour. And, you know, like you're saying, they spend hours and hours on social media, whether that's chopped up over time over the course of the day, or whether you get a 45-minute session to scroll on TikTok or whatever, which is the biggest time suck ever. You get sucked right into that whole TikTok. But
Right.
again, you pick your poison, and everybody's got a poison. And if you're not being represented on their poison, they're never going to see it.
So are executives from public companies missing these social platforms because it's free? They perceive no value to it. To put it out on, I mean, being a part of public companies, we spend thousands on news releases to get disseminated because there are so many images or charts or different things. That's where the money is spent, so that's probably the only place I need to put it. Are they not paying enough attention to it because it's free?
I don't think so. I mean, there is that aspect of things. You know, it's free, so why would I pay somebody to do that? I mean, it's free to cut your own lawn, but, you know, depending on the size of your lawn, you're probably paying somebody to do it. That being said, I think that, again, everyone has their poison, right? I spoke to a friend. She's got this big Instagram account, blah, blah, blah. She's not on anything else because she's like, I don't know a thing about Twitter. So when an executive, you know, puts it out on Twitter, maybe puts it out on LinkedIn, maybe they don't have Facebook. Maybe they don't understand how to make a YouTube short or how to put it out on TikTok so that it's effective. And because of that, they just ignore those platforms or they ignore those spaces. And that's fine, but you're missing people. Like at that point, like your impressions or like how many people are going to be able to see and view your content goes down because you're not touching them all, right? Like, and sometimes I think it comes down to the fact that they don't personally use those platforms. So therefore they don't understand the idiosyncrasies of every platform has its own little, like, you know, pros and cons, little things that should be done in certain ways that make it beneficial to be on that platform. My team and myself, I understand all of the platforms. I have my own poison myself, but I understand all of the platforms. I understand the difference between posting something on Twitter and then posting something on Instagram. Those are two totally different creatives, and that's two totally different post text or post, like the way that it's presented is totally different, not the same at all. So when you have an executive that doesn't use both platforms, then they don't understand, like, or they feel uncomfortable. They don't want to put it out there because maybe they don't even have an account. They don't know how to set an account up. You know, some of these accounts are really easy and other ones are like jumping through hoops trying to figure it out. So we run the gamut. We do them all. I don't know that there's any social media platform that we're not touching. So
Proof of life. I think it's brilliant. It's concerning, but it's absolutely true. You do not exist as a public company to potential investors if you're not paying attention to your website and your social media.
Right.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
No, I agree.
Good.
So
Thanks for watching another episode. Hopefully you're enjoying these. We try and get as much brilliant content as we can to you to make sure you're attracting investors. Anyway, thank you for watching.